All right. Thanks for making the Locked On Ole Miss podcast your first listen every day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcast, including YouTube. Do us a favor, subscribe to the YouTube channel, hit the bell for notifications, comment down below, and upvote the video itself. Derek Vandygriff continues to join us. He is talking about, this time, the Ole Miss LSU baseball series. Derek, this baseball season has not gone, let's say, well to this point. But this is a
That's fair.
series I'm kind of looking forward to because, honestly, with Dylan Cruz chasing Dave Magadan's record for batting average in the SEC, and Dave Magadan, for those who don't know, hit 535 in the SEC. This late in the season, I'm just intrigued at what Cruz can do.
Yeah, he's maybe the best player in the country, and if he's not, then the guy pitching for LSU on Friday night will be the best player in the country. Ole Miss fans are in for a real treat when it may not be a treat you want, but I mean you're going to see two major league players come into Oxford, Mississippi this weekend, and you're going to get to see them firsthand. But yeah, to your point, Dylan Cruz. What he's done, I've watched college baseball for a very, very long time, and I followed it pretty closely. And I'm not sure I've seen anybody have a year like he's having right now, right? Like you're saying, hitting 500 halfway through the conference season already. And he does a little bit of everything. You know, he's not just up there for his bat. He's a really good defender. He's got pop. He can drive it out of the ballpark if you give him a chance. But he's one of those guys that he sits there and he takes what you're going to give him. And you know, he's not up there looking for one particular thing. He's got great hand-eye coordination. He can really recognize the pitch coming out of the pitcher's hand, which is really really tough to do, especially in this conference. And yeah, he's incredible. He's going to be a lot of fun to watch. And you know, when the game's over on Sunday, I can't wait to look up and see that he's only hitting 435 or so by the time he leaves Oxford.
Yeah, seriously, no doubt there. Ole Miss defeated Arkansas State this week in midweek,
Yeah, we
which,
did. Big
yeah,
win.
yeah, which normally that's not something to crow about, but as it's been
Yeah.
going, we need to
Hmm.
look for positives in this game. What were
Yeah.
positives that came out of that game?
Yeah, I've been pretty critical of Mason Nichols over the last couple of weeks, and quite frankly, he turned in maybe his best game of the year, albeit at Arkansas State. But yeah, he finally found his fastball command again. That's one thing that was really lacking. That's what killed him in that midweek game last week against Memphis. He wasn't able to throw the fastball for strikes. All he had was his breaking ball, and you start laying breaking balls over the plate, they're going to end up getting hit, and that's what happened that night. So, but yeah, he got his velocity back, got his command back. That's the big thing. You got to be able to put the fastball where you want to put it, and use that to set up your other pitches. So that was really nice. We saw Big Kent come in there in the ninth inning, try to close it out for us. I think it's interesting that we're getting him as many opportunities as we are on the mound. It's kind of hard with him being out in the field. There's not a lot of warm up time, and then if you're in the eighth inning and he's due up to hit, then he can't go down and warm up then for you. So it has to work out perfectly to get him into the bullpen to get him warm if you want to bring him in. But look, Kemp's, he's his command isn't great. Obviously, this being his second appearance of, I believe, his career. I don't think he's pitched before this year. But he's got good velocity. He's got a pretty usable breaking ball, which is kind of strange. He's certainly intimidating up there. There's no doubt about that. You get him on the mound, that big frame of his. But yeah, he's got a little velocity. He's going to pump it in 94 miles an hour. I think it's interesting if we can maybe get him innings here or there. That may be another arm we can use. So. I thought that was really interesting. And then, of course, when he ended up walking the bases loaded, you bring in what's been, quite frankly, the best pitcher on our team so far this year, Mitch Morrell, and he comes in, and you could tell the announcers that night weren't people that have watched a whole lot of Ole Miss games and Mitch Morrell, because they were blown away that the first two pitches he threw were a slider. And I was sitting there thinking, like, man, you're going to see six sliders if this thing goes that deep. You're not going to see a fastball. All Mitch is up there throwing. He's going to throw you the slingers up there. And sure enough, that's all he threw was sliders over and over and over again. Ended up striking him out on five or six pitches, whatever it ended up being. So, again, it wasn't a great effort by Ole Miss. Our bat struggled. We're leaving way too many guys on base, which kind of been the thing the theme of this conference season. We haven't been able to drive guys in, and it crept up again Tuesday night for us. But we got the win. Mason Nichols looked better. Mitch Morrell still looks good. So, take the positives where you can get them, and try to use those going forward, because they got a hell of a task coming up starting Friday night.
All right, we talked about Dylan Cruz a little bit. Tell me about this LSU lineup, because I know it's more than just him.
Yeah, it is. There's Mr. Tommy Tank sitting over there at third base for them, the freshman from North Carolina State last year. He's a sophomore now, obviously, but at North Carolina State, he hit everything out of the ballpark, and comes over to LSU and kind of took a step back. Wasn't hitting everything out of the ballpark; he was just hitting it to the wall. So unfortunately for Ole Miss, he has started to now get it over the wall. He's an absolute beast out there, man. He's going to be in college one more year. We get to mess with him again next year. And with the shift and everything, I can go ahead and tell you, shift everything to right field. I think in his entire career, he's hit now close to 50 home runs, I think it is, in the 2 years in college baseball, 40, 50, something like that. He might have pulled one of them. Everything is pushed to right field, even his home runs, oppo bombs, over and over and over again. Really good approach. He lets the ball travel. He gets the head of the bat on it, and just a really big, strong kid that can drive it. Uh, and so that's something we're just going to have to look at with them. It's a really deep lineup. It's a team that hits up and down. Their thing is they've kind of got bit by the Ole Miss bug a little bit. Their pitching staff has had several injuries, and they're really depleted after you get past Paul Steen on Friday night. I actually didn't look it up, but I'm pretty sure I'm right here. I don't think they've swept anybody in SEC play yet. Somebody's always able to get a game off of them, and it's because of their pitching. So we got to get through Friday night with Paul Steen, and then Saturday and Sunday go out there and give it our best shot, and see if we can still hopefully one of these games. If you get two of them, then you're cooking with gas at that point. But it's obviously a tall task. Really good team. They hit a ton, and if Ole Miss keeps leaving runners on base the way we're doing it right now, then it's going to be another long weekend for us. But for all you optimistic Ole Miss fans out there, if you wanted me to do some math for you, get into the NCAA tournament, I'm really good with numbers, and I can fudge them any way you want me to. So it's we're still alive technically, but boy, if this weekend goes bad, then that'll definitely put a damper on it for us.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, before we get out of here, is there a chance there's help on the way? Hunter Elliott this weekend?
I haven't heard him say that he's not on the way. That was kind of the last thing Bianco said. They were looking at the LSU series for him to return. So my guess is you're going to see Hunter Elliott this weekend. I'm not 100% sure I would throw him, just me personally, but I am 100% sure that if he's healthy, Mike Bianco is going to throw him. Now, the interesting question when it comes to Hunter Elliott is, when do you throw him? Are you going to put him out there against Paul Skeens, or do you want to hold him for one of the lower pitchers on Saturday or Sunday, right? You could throw Rivas on Friday and then hold Elliott for Saturday and piggyback Jack Doherty off of him, or use Doherty in some sort of super bullpen utility role if you're able to steal a game here or there. And quite frankly, that's his best role. I know we've talked about it several times, trying to get Jack back to the bullpen so he can get into a role that he's actually comfortable with and best suited for. So I'm really interested to see what Mike does this weekend, see if he rolls Elliott out there on Friday, or if he holds him till Saturday, and at the same time seeing what he's going to do with Jack Doherty, because you can't take Rivas out of the rotation, I don't think. And quite frankly, I think JT Quinn's pitched so well, I don't think you can bring him out either. So leave those two guys in there, get Jack back in the bullpen if you're going to throw Elliott, and then figure out the best time to use him this weekend. And, if you're able to steal a Friday night game, then throw Doherty in there, then see if he can give you 3 innings, if we're up in the 6th inning or whatever it may be. But if not, hold on to him and, piggyback him off of either Rivas, Quinn, or Elliott, whatever works out best for you the rest of the weekend. So definitely some options, stuff we haven't had all year with this pitching staff. So really interested to see what Mike's going to do with it.
Yeah, and I'm sure Mike knows more about baseball in his little
Yeah,
finger than I
yeah.
do in my whole body. But I just think about
Oh
it as
yeah,
like
yeah.
the next high leverage pitch that Hunter Elliott would throw if it was me would be next spring.
Hmm.
That's
Yeah,
just my
yeah, yeah.
opinion.
Me too. Yeah, yeah, and kind of like you're saying though, they obviously have a lot more information than we do. They're looking at MRIs, they're talking to doctors and have their opinions and stuff like that. I mean, look, it's completely possible that more rest doesn't do him any good, that he's as healthy as he's going to be and he's 100%, and if that's the case, obviously you run him out there and let him get his work in. But for me, if there was even a 1% chance that something could go wrong with that elbow in a high leverage situation, then I would question throwing him back out there this weekend. But they have all the information. I'm sure they got the best doctors in the world looking at him and giving their opinion. So I will trust whatever they decide to do this weekend with him.
All right. Thanks for making the Locked On Ole Miss podcast your first listen every day. Every day or is tomorrow on our show, Tom Vanderford. He'll come in for his normal Friday segment. And also on Saturday, John Garcia is going to come by to talk a little football recruiting as well. Anyway, thank you, Derek, for going overtime today. This was a lot of fun, man.
Yeah, no problem, buddy.
All right. Take care, man.
All right, hi, Toddy.
Hotty toddy.